Hello fellow cyborgs, and welcome to another Hindsight is 2020 video where I tell you my rereading plans. So today I'm going to talk to you about 5 hesitant favorites. These are novels that I initially gave 5 stars, but I'm not sure if they're going to hold up upon rereading, but that I have positive feelings about. I feel like I gave them 5 stars in good faith the first time, and we'll just see if they hold up the second time. Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell, I remember enthralling my focus. I was able to read this while in airports and on planes, and normally my anxiety makes me stare at my boarding pass for hours instead of actually getting productive reading done, and the fact that this book could hold my attention was super good. I also remember that the nested narratives were really interesting and that I enjoyed the very middle narrative the most, but I didn't hate the first narrative, which a lot of people don't like. I also remember being impressed with his writing style and that each section had at least like one sentence of pure gold. That's what I remember about Cloud Atlas. I gave it 5 stars initially. I'm planning on reading this in February, and hopefully you'll hear my thoughts on it soon, like the rest of these. I went on a Charles DeLint binge in 2010 to 2012. I can't exactly remember, but it was when I was at university in Vancouver. And this was by far my favorite thing by Charles DeLint. And I think it was the second book of his that I read. And I read 5, 7 things of his, back to back. Some Place to Be Flying has ancient Native American mythology in it. I also remember that this is the book that made me want to like mint tea, and now I do like mint tea, so yay for literature making you enjoy hot beverages. I remember there being some sort of mob gang thing, and there's I think a detective and then a taxi driver who gang up together to figure stuff out. I've got other things, but I feel like they might be spoilers, so I'm not going to share the rest of them. But I gave this 5 out of 5 stars and haven't read it in years, and I'm really interested to see what I feel about this book specifically, and also Charles DeLint, because I really enjoyed him at first, but then after I kept reading him, there were some trends that I spied, so we'll see about that. How the Blessed Live by Susanna M. Smith was a BookTube darling in 2016, something like that. I got on the bandwagon and I read it, and it took me a while to get into it from what I remember, and it's written almost like poetry in some places, and I remember the play of language being really intriguing. I also, if I remember correctly, something traumatic happens as well in here that I'm not sure I picked up on how traumatic it was, and then I talked with somebody about it and they were like, no, this, and I was like, oh, did that happen? We'll see what I think about this. This is probably one of the most niche things I have on my shelves, and let's see if I was just pretending to be a niche reader back in the past, or if I truly do enjoy this second time around. A Tale for the Time Being by Ruth Ozeki was another one that was really hyped on BookTube. I feel like I read this in 2016. I could have looked this up, but you know what? I just don't want to. I remember genuinely enjoying this. I remember enjoying the split narratives. I remember hearing about Japanese culture. I remember enjoying learning about, well, not enjoying, but hearing about the aftermath of the tsunami. I'm thinking I might listen to this one on audiobook because I think that might be good. So if you have opinions on the audiobook, if you've listened to it, I'm not sure if there's just one copy. I assume there's only one narrator. We'll just have to see, but I would really like to know if this holds up the second time that I read it. And we have The Secret History by Donna Tartt. This I read in 2015. It was on my favorites list. This is one of the only books that has compelled me to do status updates on Goodreads. I remember chunks of it being boring, but I remember it being set up really interestingly, and this is a campus university novel, but with really effed up people. I remember things get super weird, and I'm wondering if kind of remembering things but not really will make me able to focus on more of the subtlety details when I'm reading this. And I'm not sure, I think I want to read it, even though it is almost, it's 600 pages and it will take a while, and I could audiobook it, but I think I want to physically read this. I'm kind of skeptical about this one the most because I do remember there being chunks where it was at one point he's alone over Christmas break in a warehouse. And I remember being really bored about that section, and I don't know if I'm going to have the patience to get through it. So we'll just have to see. I feel like of all of the books that I've mentioned, this one and Someplace to Be Flying are the ones I'm most likely to DNF. I loved both of them when I first read them. I just have a sneaky suspicion. So we'll just have to see what happens. So those are 5 books that I gave 5 stars, and I'm kind of hesitant about if they're gonna hold up or not. If you have opinions on any of these, let me know in the comments down below, and thank you for watching. Until next time, continue to be lovely.